Long Hot Summer, sponsored in part by MONY Financial Services. Financial planning with the real plan.
It seems that some people have a financial plan with no plan at all. They just buy financial services when rates are high and investments are hot. Well, at MONY Financial Services, we don't buy that idea. You see, we'll sit down with you to map out your very own financial plan. A plan you can start following now and all the way to your goals. Because we believe any other way would just be leading you nowhere. MONY Financial Services, financial planning with a real plan.
You probably wouldn't be surprised to find Black & Decker products in a place like this. But there's one that might surprise you. It's an iron. And it does something no other iron does. It warns you when you leave it unattended. Then if you don't come back, it shuts itself off. The automatic shut-off iron from Black & Decker. Ideas at work.
The way some financial service companies serve their customers, you'd think they were serving up fast food.
2 IRAs and the T-bill on the side.
Well, at MONY Financial Services, we do things a little differently. Before we offer you anything, we'll sit down with you to set up your very own financial plan.
Those still hot? Sure.
A plan for you to reach your goals, not someone else's. MONY Financial Services, financial planning with a real plan.
The long, hot summer will return following these messages.
Charges of child abuse in foster care. Story at 11.
The long, hot summer continues, starring Don Johnson, Jason Robards, and Sybil Shepherd.
This is NBC News Digest, sponsored by Michelob Classic Dark. Here is Emery King, NBC News.
Good evening. More than 500 youths battle police in fierce street fighting in North London today. At least one officer was stabbed to death. 19 others were injured. An anti-apartheid group charges that armed police officers in South Africa now monitor classes in some black schools, force children to school with whips, and beat blacks in their homes and in prisons. In Florida, an investigation is underway into the unauthorized medical research on the brains of executed death row prisoners. Now this. Grambling State University coach Eddie Robinson is the winningest coach in college football history. He surpassed Bear Bryant with a win over Prairie View A&M. I'm Emery King in Washington. More news later on this NBC station.
He's age 46 and the 300-game winner at 11.
I've analyzed your financial situation very carefully. You need our Super CD.
Financial advice may often be limited by what someone has to sell you.
In your case, I'd recommend our Super CD.
At MONY Financial Services, before we sell you anything, we'll work out a plan tailored to your goals.
Most unusual, you need our Super CD.
Talk to MONY, or you may not get what you need. MONY Financial Services, financial planning with a real plan.
Tomorrow, the Reverend Louis Farrakhan speaks at Madison Square Garden in defiance of New York's mayor, other city leaders, and Jewish groups. Tomorrow on NBC Nightly News with Tom Brokaw.
Update. The latest from News 4, New York.
These developments coming up at 11 on News 4. Governor Cuomo blasts Lilco for leaving so many customers in the dark for so long after Gloria. Protests on the eve of Louis Farrakhan's Manhattan speech. A Jewish group compares the Muslim leader to the Ku Klux Klan.
Fierce fighting near London. Used riot leaving a police officer dead. And the Yanks' oldest pitcher chalks up a win for his team and himself that hurls him into baseball history. All that and more at 11.
When you want to get away from rock music, when you want to get away from elevator music, come to Light Music at 106.7 WLTW Light FM.
Growing pains hit Atlantic City on Strictly Business tonight at 11:40.
The long, hot summer continues, starring Don Johnson, Judith Ivey, and Ava Gardner. This is NBC News Digest. Here is Tom Brokaw, NBC News.
Good evening. Terrorism on the high seas in the Middle East tonight. The seizure of an Italian passenger ship by Palestinian commandos who threatened to blow up the cruise liner Achille Lauro, now off Egypt's coast, unless 50 Palestinian prisoners in Israel are released. They have warned all other ships not to approach the hijacked vessel. They're now threatening to execute passengers, starting with the Americans, unless their demands are broadcast by Egyptian radio and television. A cruise line official in Naples said an undetermined number of Americans were aboard originally, but that a sightseeing party of some 700 left the ship at Alexandria before the terrorists boarded. At 11:30 Eastern Time tonight, NBC News will have a special report on the hijacking. I'm Tom Brokaw in New York.
Philco says the customers pay for Gloria at 11.
Update. The latest from News 4 New York.
Good evening. PLO pirates threaten to blow up an Italian cruise ship with more than 400 aboard. Extremely tight security at Madison Square Garden as the controversial Louis Farrakhan speaks. And Loco's chairman defends his hurricane repairs and talks about a rate hike.
An uproar tonight over a new movie that twists the nativity. Catholics protested the premiere, and Japanese students set out to break a domino record with spectacular results.
At 11.